It was a Tuesday morning, and the air inside the bustling downtown office carried the sharp hum of printers, the clicks of keyboards, and the hushed whispers of employees rushing against time. Among them was Emily Carter, a woman in her early 30s with tired eyes that spoke of sleepless nights and unshakable determination. Her hair was pulled back in a simple bun, and her blouse bore the faint wrinkles of a hurried morning. But behind her weary appearance was a fierce heart, the heart of a mother doing everything she could to keep her world from collapsing. Emily was a single mother to a bright-eyed 7-year-old boy named Noah. Noah was the kind of child who asked questions that made adults pause, who smiled even when life gave him little reason to, and who clung to his mother with a trust so deep it could move mountains. For years, Emily had been juggling two worlds, her demanding job at a corporate firm and her even more demanding role as Noah's anchor, provider, and parent. But that morning, life had decided to test her limits. Noah's school had closed unexpectedly due to a burst water pipe. She had no babysitter, no family nearby, and no savings to afford childcare. She stood in her tiny apartment, staring at her son who sat at the kitchen table, swinging his legs, eating cereal. His backpack rested by the door, packed for a school day that would never begin. Emily's heart raced. She thought about her boss, Mr. Callahan, a man known for his sharp suits, sharper tongue, and complete lack of tolerance for personal problems. He believed the office was no place for distractions, least of all children. But Emily had no choice. If she missed work, she risked losing her job, and if she lost her job, she risked losing everything: rent, food, stability, hope. So, with trembling hands, she packed Noah's sketchbook, some snacks, and his favorite superhero figurine into a bag. She crouched down, held his little face, and whispered, "You'll sit quietly in Mommy's office today, okay? I just need to get through this one day." Noah, sensing the weight in her voice, nodded seriously, as though he understood more than his years should allow. By 9 o'clock, Emily walked briskly into the building, her son holding her hand tightly. She avoided eye contact with coworkers, praying no one would notice. For the first hour, things went smoothly. Noah sat quietly in the corner of her cubicle, coloring superheroes and occasionally glancing up at his mother with a shy smile. But peace never lasts long. By noon, Mr. Callahan stormed through the office, his polished shoes striking the floor like thunder. His sharp eyes scanned the room, and froze. There, in the corner of Emily's cubicle, was Noah. "What is this?" His voice sliced through the air, silencing the office. Heads turned. Emily's heart stopped. I had no one to watch him today," she stammered, her voice trembling. "I promise he's quiet." "He won't." But Callahan raised a hand, cutting her off. "This is a workplace, not a daycare. You've crossed a line, Emily. Pack your things. You're done here." Her co-workers looked away, some with pity, others with relief it wasn't them. Emily's hands shook as she reached for her purse, her son staring at her with wide, confused eyes. Tears burned her vision, but she refused to let them fall, not here, not in front of her child. Noah tugged at her sleeve and whispered, "Mommy, did I do something wrong?" That broke her. She knelt down, hugged him tightly, and whispered, "No, baby. You did everything right. It's just Mommy's world is a little unfair sometimes." And with that, Emily Carter walked out of the building, carrying not just her son's hand but the crushing weight of humiliation and fear. The days that followed were a blur of rejection emails, dwindling savings, and long nights filled with silent tears. Emily applied everywhere she could, from retail stores to restaurants to offices, but no one seemed willing to take a chance on a woman who had been abruptly let go. Her rent loomed overhead, her refrigerator emptied by the day, and yet, every morning, she put on a brave face for Noah. "Things will get better," she told him each night as she tucked him in, even when she wasn't sure she believed it herself. Then, one morning, a call came that would change everything. A new tech startup in the city was hiring, and Emily had applied weeks ago, almost forgetting about it. They wanted to interview her. Desperate and hopeful, she borrowed a blazer from a neighbor, brushed Noah's hair, and set out for the interview with trembling nerves and a silent prayer. The office was modern, filled with light and laughter, so different from the cold rigidity of her old workplace. She sat in the waiting area, clutching her resume, when suddenly a voice called her name. Emily Carter. She looked up. Standing before her was a man in his mid-30s, confident yet warm, his smile carrying an ease that instantly softened her anxiety. He extended a hand. "I'm Daniel Hayes, the CEO. It's a pleasure to meet you." Emily blinked in surprise. The CEO himself? She shook his hand, her voice shaky. Thank you for seeing me." Daniel gestured for her to follow him into his office. The space was lined with books, photos, and a small shelf filled with children's drawings framed like prized art. Something about it struck her deeply. As the interview began, Daniel asked her about her skills, her past experience, and her hopes for the future. Emily answered honestly, though she couldn't hide the cracks in her confidence. At one point, her voice faltered, and she admitted softly, I need a chance. I know what it feels like to work hard, to carry responsibilities others can't see. I know what it means to fight for something more than yourself." There was a silence. Daniel leaned back in his chair, studying her. Then he asked quietly, "You're a single mom, aren't you?" Emily froze. "Yes. How did you?" He smiled gently. "Because I had one too." Her heart skipped. Daniel's eyes softened, and he leaned forward. "When I was about your son's age, my mother brought me to her workplace. She had no choice, she was doing everything she could to give me a future. I remember sitting quietly in the corner with a toy car, hoping no one would notice me. But someone did. Her boss. He humiliated her. Fired her on the spot. I'll never forget the way she cried that night, thinking she had failed me. But do you know what I remember most? I remember how hard she fought after that. How she never gave up. And because of her, I'm standing here today." Emily's breath caught in her chest. Her eyes filled with tears as she whispered, "Your mother, she was fired for bringing you to work." Daniel nodded, his voice firm yet tender. "Yes. And I swore that if I ever had the power, I would build a place where no parent would ever have to choose between their child and their job." The room fell silent, heavy with the weight of shared pain and unexpected connection. Then Daniel smiled. "So when I saw your resume, I didn't just see skills. I saw resilience. I saw my mother. And I knew I had to meet you." Tears slipped down Emily's cheeks. For the first time in a long time, she felt seen, not just as an employee, but as a human being, a mother, a fighter. Daniel reached across the desk, his voice steady. "Emily, I don't just want to hire you. I want you to help me build this company into the kind of place where parents like you are celebrated, not punished. What do you say?" Her voice broke as she whispered, I don't know what to say." "Say yes," he replied with a smile. And she did. Months passed, and Emily flourished in her new role. The office became a place where children were welcome, where a small playroom sat beside the break room, where flexible hours were embraced, where empathy was not weakness but strength. Employees thrived, not because they feared punishment, but because they felt valued. Noah often came by after school, running into his mother's arms and waving shyly at Daniel, who always smiled back. Sometimes Daniel would kneel down, hand Noah a toy car, and say, "You remind me of me." And every time, Emily's heart swelled with gratitude, for second chances, for unexpected kindness, and for the reminder that even the deepest wounds could be turned into bridges of hope. One evening, as Emily closed her laptop and prepared to leave, Daniel stopped by her desk. "You know," he said softly, "my mother never got to see this. But I think she'd be proud of what we're building." Emily smiled, tears brimming. She'd be proud of you. And I'm proud to be part of this. Together, they walked out of the office, the glow of city lights reflecting in their eyes, two lives forever changed by a moment of compassion, a shared story, and the courage of a single mother who refused to give up. Because sometimes, the very thing that breaks us becomes the very thing that saves someone else. And sometimes, the child in the corner grows up, not to repeat history, but to rewrite it.